Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for being here this morning.
Let's go, let's go. Ow, let's start this show. King Roman News gonna come right through. Gonna give you that news just like you know he can do. Hot topics in your face, baby. King Roman knows his place, baby. King Roman News.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
6:30 a.m. Eastern time, baby. He's gonna come right on time with the news just for you. Celebrity news, politics, and local news just for you. King Roman News. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday, Wednesday, Let's go, let's go. Hey, let's start this show. King Roman News, coming just for you. King Roman News, coming just for you. 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. King Roman News, King Roman News. Let's go, let's go. Hey, let's start this show. Let's go, let's go. Let's start this show.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Shout out to the news crew. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Friday, October 7th. We are back for another local news report where I give you everything that I found interesting happening across the United States of America and a little sprinkle of the world. So stay tuned for that. But before we begin, like none other, I need to thank you so much for being here this morning. Thank you so much for being here this morning. I appreciate it. Shout out to everyone in the chat. Everything I say here today will be allegedly, okay? Please, I always strongly advise you to do your own research. Again, everything I do is for discussion and debate. Now, I want to send a warm welcome to everyone in the chat. Everyone's coming through. Shout out to the crew, the baddest, the dopest news crew around. Shout out specifically to my members and my moderators. Thank you all. If not for you, there would be really no channel, no engagement, no substance, no none of that. So thank you. I appreciate you for being here and know I always see you in the chat. And shout out to the dopest subscribers. I'm always looking to grow my channel. So any help that you all can give, that's sharing the pages, that's I drop down in chats whenever my channel is shared. I really do appreciate the support and I try to share as much as possible. Please hit the like button too. Don't forget, please hit the like. You can do it right now. Every single one of your likes matter. Okay. All likes matter. Ain't no shade, no nothing. It never hurts to throw a little free support, Consider me the man standing outside with the little change can. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel. Please consider being a subscriber and hitting that notification bell. And if you want to show some love, I appreciate it always. My Cash App is $Roman L. Jackson. Always, everything I do appreciate it. Thank you for everyone who do send me Cash Apps. I really do appreciate the love. Without that, it always you need those little check-ins that what you did matter. So thank you for all of that. Now, without further ado, let's get into why we here today, which is local news. So I have about 13 topics to share with you all today. It's so crazy, but our biggest focus today's show will be dedicated to domestic violence. Now, you all know October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So I have a great amount of stories that I'm going to be sharing about domestic violence going all over in the world. I have a story of a white woman stabbing her black man. I have a story about a father and the baby. We have a lot of stories to cover, but I want to be sure that I share with you that my whole purpose in sharing these stories is not to be provocative. It's literally for us to discuss what were the signs. You know, that's my thing. What were the signs? But what we can learn from this. You never know who you may touch, I may touch going on in the world. And if we can take something from this, we must. So that's my whole goal in showing the domestic violence and having those stories today. So bear with me, and we're going to open up with some local politics. So we're going to talk about Biden and what's going on with him with the marijuana. And then he's been sued. He literally was blatantly sued. So we're going to talk about that. But before I begin, let me shout out to the chat. What up, Joe? Good morning, Joe. Joe, I didn't miss your birthday, did I? I know it was either, I know you told me when it was, and I just want to make sure I didn't miss it. Because if I did, happy belated birthday to you, sir. Jay Parrish, good morning. Hey, King Roman knows that everyone have a great weekend on purpose. Be safe and be blessed. Hey, Mildred, good morning to you. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. What up, Voodoo? What up, Voodoo? Also, I am celebrating my birthday in a couple of weeks. I did create an Amazon wish list. I posted it on my community wall. I'm sharing the link in the chat. I'll probably share it just this one time. You can take a look at it if you like. Again, everything is voluntary. You don't really have to. And then depending on, if I do get a lot of things online and offline, I might have like an unboxing party with you all. So that's just dependent upon it. And I did go get a PO box at the behest of a subscriber. So I will be giving that information on my community tab a little bit later today. If you want to send anything to the channel. So I'm trying to open up a little bit more for engaging and stuff like that. It was September 28th. Oh my God. I hope you had a fucking blast, Joe. Oh my God. I hope you had a blast. Hey, Kings Mina. Good morning. Good morning to you. And happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. All right. Hope everybody had their coffee. Every time I had this bad habit of like I buy milk and then I buy another milk and I freeze it. And so every time I open the milk, I have to sniff it because I had this bad experience one time. I poured like I like regular almond milk in my coffee, and I poured the regular milk into my coffee, and I was drinking it. That milk must have been spoiled, yo. And so now I have this bad habit of I always have to check the milk and make sure it ain't spoiled because I'll be around here with a bad stomach. So I was sitting here this morning, I'm like, I ain't got no milk. My milk was frozen. So I had to literally run to 7-Eleven and then run back over here. So if you didn't notice, the time went from 7 a.m. to 7:15. I was running. I was trying to get my coffee on point. It ain't nothing like having starting your day with some good coffee. Good morning, Cash Apps and bullshit. All right, let's get into it. And always, and again, thank you for being here with me just to dive into some topics that, sort of involve our culture and our people, and we need to talk about it. So the first thing I want to talk about, you all, and remember everything I say here is allegedly. Don't trip me up with with none of that. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is Biden's pardon for all federal offenses for simple marijuana possession. Now, to some of us who've been following, sort of the political environment for marijuana, we knew this was coming. It's a step short of decriminalizing marijuana, and we'll talk about why, but we knew this was coming. I knew that this was coming, especially at a time where we're in midterm elections. This couldn't be any closer to midterm elections. But for someone like me, it's just not enough. It's not enough. And I told you I'm going to be on Biden's ass this election. I'm going to be making sure that he's dotting his I's and crossing his T's. So he issued this whole, the steps he's going to take. The first thing he's going to do is announce it. He's going to pardon thousands of folks who are trying to seek convictions. The second thing, which I found questionable, is he's trying to force governors to take the same act at the state level. Now, yeah, that's where I'm sort of like, okay, that's falling on deaf ears. We already know the states who use marijuana sort of as a weapon to capitalize on arresting black folks. We know that's not going to work. Then the third, he's asking the head of housing secretary and the attorney general to start the process of starting to pardon some of these folks. Now it's upwards of 6,500 people who are estimated to have been going to be pardoned under this, including those in DC, who have been pardoned, but they're going to also pardon them under the federal law. Now, we can't always complain about what, we never had, because we never had it. So I'm grateful for the pardon. I do think a lot of people will be rewarded from this. But you have to know that this is just a band-aid over the reasons why they can't he won't decriminalize it. And so I went to do some digging to find, okay, what is that main reason why we can't get this decriminalization going on? And so I found amongst my research is that the biggest tool that Republicans will use against Democrats, especially in Congress, when they try to push to decriminalize marijuana, is going to be everything that has exploded in Colorado since there was the first city to sort of decriminalize it and take it on the roller coaster. And you know what their biggest issue is in Colorado? Is that there are children between the ages of 12 and 17 who use marijuana frequently. And I go, that's not the problem of the child, that's the problem of the parent. Well, they make it recreational, so they make it accessible for those who are like 21 or you're older. Well, that 21 or older is buying it for that 19-year-old, that 18-year-old, that the same shit that happened with cigarettes. And hence, you see what will happen. If the tobacco industry was shunned the same way they were going after them for how they market it towards kids, they're going to use this as a way to come after marijuana advocates. And so here's what I found. In Colorado, there's been an increase in hospitalizations, emergency department visits, and poison center calls linked with marijuana exposure. They're saying that children who stumble upon a parent's edibles are a particular cause of concern. Now, how many stories have we done came across about kids eating edibles in schools? So this is very plausible, and this is something that they really have to consider. They're saying that, it's accessible for those between the ages of 12 and 17. It can become very addictive for those children of those ages, and it makes them not want to be a productive citizen, leading to them becoming a criminal in the system. And so that's sort of what they're building their basis on, in addition to all the other stuff, such as, does it lead to heart disease, lung cancer? They do say it leads to long, if you have asthma, bronchitis, and stuff like that. They do say there's proven research that long-term use of marijuana does lead to those things, but they cannot prove that you can die because it did something to your body. There will have to be a whole set of factors in play for you to really just die from long-term use of marijuana. It could combination of you using it in tobacco leaf, a whole number of things. So there's a plausible case to keep it around. And he wants to reschedule it from being a class 1, the likes of fentanyl and what was the other, heroin. And he wants to change the classification, which makes sense. However, the research there has not been proven to show that it is not as addictive, but we know it is. I know it's addictive. I know it's totally addictive. It's absolutely a gateway drug. So there's an uphill battle for the decriminalization of marijuana on the federal level. And you have to understand these reasons as to why. So that way, when you start seeing legislation come and you start hearing that children language creep up, that, underage, and, this other report said that there were a total of 4,172 cases of nationwide of kids between the ages of 0 to 9 years old exposed to marijuana in 2019. That's 2019. And that's CDC reporting that. So that's a lot of the reason why Biden is walking this thin line. He knows he can go so far, but he knows he can't. And so that's where I say they need to put dollars into research. If you really are about this and you don't want to just give us a band-aid and you want us to vote for us, why not really figure out what really is the issue here? We got Colorado, years of case studies there. I don't know why we won't look at that, but for some reason, we're still stuck in this limbo of, if you don't decriminalize it on the federal level, it means nothing. It means nothing to any common Joe Schmo in a state who've gotten arrested by the state sheriff or whomever, their local, municipality, what does that mean to them? It totally needs to be decriminalized. At least, then the other case is, is it as bad as people who are impaired driving, driving, you know, under the influence of marijuana? Is that the same as those driving under the influence of alcohol? Well, we know it's not. But that little bit of impaired activity is there enough to say, hold on. So it's a dial back. It ain't easy as we thought it was gonna be. I hope folks didn't think he was gonna come out here and say, go smoke weed. Are you kidding me? Y'all see what they're doing to the student loans. Speaking of, and shout out to the chat. What up, what up, what up, what up? Happy belated birthday, Joe. I agree. It's not enough, period. It's not enough. What do you mean? What do you mean? You gonna pardon them? Okay. Are you gonna provide them with attorneys and for the state level? Who knows how many, like there's a whole domino effect after pardoning them on the federal level that needs to occur. You then need to help them find either employment or right the wrongs from what that sentence did to them for all those years. You don't know, people could have not lost jobs. Does this come with some, workforce development plan? Like, what other subsidy can they get that they really can take hold and move forward with? Not just, okay, y'all out. Okay. What about the last 3 years I was trying to apply for a job, but I couldn't because this was on my record? Can you help me with that? Can you send them a letter? Can you get me a job? You got vendors or something I can work with? They ain't talking that language. I just don't see how it'll work. Yes, we need to be on Biden and Miss Harris because we got old girl in there and she ain't done shit. I don't know if she's holding it for the next 2 years, but I damn near need to see her outside in some denim jeans and some sneakers in a minute, like in a whole, her head up in a bun. Like, I need to see her gritty with it. All of this cute shit is just not cutting it for me at all. What up, DKL? DKL, what up? What up? What up? Yes, I knew exactly what you were talking about. Boom. Absolutely. I did. Mm-hmm. You ain't got no fool around you at all. And it says simple possession. I don't know anybody in the feds for simple possession. They in there for intent to distribute. And he didn't say he was going to pardon them. Now, simple possession, that's just one side of it. You have all these other folks who have been in there for misdemeanors and on marijuana possession, but it's at different levels. So what are we going to do to them? Are you providing them attorneys to walk through their sentences, to walk them out of it? I mean, it's just simple to me. Sound like, let's get all the white collar individuals who got this stuck on their records. Let's get them cleared out first. They'll be on our side when they come out. They're more likely to want to be on our side and vote for us at this point than those who feel like they've been totally beat up by the system. Do you see what they're like, how they're shaving it off and sort of piecemealing it? Because to me, it doesn't seem like they looked at the whole picture. 6,500 people and out of the entire United States. I'm ain't gonna say what I was gonna want to say because it's gonna be insensitive to those it apply to. But child, you better go somewhere. Zaire, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. It's all a farce to me, right? And good morning, Ox City. What up, Naries? Good morning to you. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Hot Spicy Tea. Shout out to the Moddies. Shout out to the Moddies. Thank y'all for being here. I heard that Biden plan ain't gonna cover private loans, only federal government loan forgiveness. So we're finna get into that too. So now I want you all to get the landscape. So Biden comes out with this, right? Immediately after student loan forgiveness. Now we're talking about marijuana. Okay, cool. So back in the Biden plan, he was sued. Now this group out of Wisconsin decides to sue Biden, and let me tell you why. And this is important. The reason why they sue, because they're going to continue to use this case to sue Biden for a lot of different reasons. Now, listen. So this company decided to sue Biden on behalf of taxpayers who feel like their tax bill will increase because the tax deficit of the nation will go up by offering these subsidies to minorities. That was the one side of it. You're going to tax, we're going to have a higher tax penalty in our tax bracket to make up for that deficit. Hold up, Sway. How the fuck you know what it's going to, hi, are you speaking in the future? Do you know what your tax bill is going to look like in 4 to 5 years out? You don't know what inflation, what adjustment. You don't know if you're getting fired. You don't know none of that shit, but you automatically assume that. Okay, so that was one. Number two, they literally verbatim came out their mouth in their lawsuit and said this shit. This what got me the most. So they're pleading that based on their protections by what was it, the amendment, they're afforded the protection, the equal protection doctrine. Okay, they played the whole equal protection, baby. Do you hear me? Do y'all hear me? They played the equal protection doctrine. They said that this violates their rights to equal protection because this bill unfairly targets, specifically stated by the White House, they call it out, black people and minorities. So because this bill specifically is going to help benefit people in a great way and not us, we feel like this is unfair treatment. So that was their second point. I said, whoa, they're really trying. I said, they have Republican lawyers behind them. They got them Trump lawyers behind them. I said, okay, wow. And then the last thing they sued them on was saying that the president does not have the right to go arbitrarily forgive American private or public debt. The only thing he could do is raise taxes and do all these other things, but he cannot, to an individual citizen, remove their debt. I said, whoa, show. Now, granted, he doesn't have that right, but under the HEROES Act, COVID-19, 9/11, when all those things went on, the HEROES Act allowed the government to pause folks' loans, student loans, to pause any other loan, your housing loan, all those loans that are under the FDA approval or jurisdiction. That's what the government was doing. Now, all of a sudden, because see, y'all got that help under 9/11 and y'all got that fucking help under COVID-19. But now he gonna use that same HEROES Act and apply it to this. Y'all don't want to let it fly. Nigga, we watching y'all. And unfortunately, the courts are watching them too. So just yesterday, the judge threw their whole fucking case out. And exactly what I told y'all. They told them, how in the hell you gonna tell us that you're facing a tax burden in the years to come? The judge was like, nigga, we ain't got no proof. You have no proof. And even if you provide proof, it's not enough proof. Dismiss. And then the second one, he says, how can you claim equal unfair treatment under a bill that targets everyone? And just so the criteria also affects those who are deeply affected by this bill. How can you feel and plead that you're unfairly treated? If you're at status quo and these people aren't, and this bill brings them to status quo, what does that mean to you? Baby, the judge went there. And I said, okay, this is great. Now, the judge did say, if you wanted to bring this back, you could, but I don't see any merit because you don't know what the tax liability will be in the years to come. How can you just arbitrarily sue? I said, well, great, wonderful. But now we see the framework of how folks are looking at this stuff. So when they make these bills, they got to think about this shit. They have to literally think about how much of this is benefiting the folks we want to, but the people who it's not even touching, what will this do to them? Walk all that. They might, but walk that shit through. Because clearly they out to get Biden. Biden is not, a favorite. He is not, I hate to say it, but he's not a favorite. I didn't have my glasses on, so I didn't know there were CBD candies, and I'm not a partaker. Ooh, let me find out. Oh, wait, I'm on my diet, so my boo hides junk food from me. One day I thought I found some gummy bears, and I was about to gobble them down, but couldn't get them. Yes, that's what they do. They have to make them childproof because, baby, children, we already know, and they got them in like Starburst packaging and little M&M peanut packaging nowadays. Like all of that shit. If they decriminalize, let me tell you, if they decriminalize marijuana, all that packaging and shit, making it cute, all this flavoring of marijuana and shit goes out the window. We want it to be decriminalized, but we have to know that with that comes the same guidelines under cigarettes. And know they're going to tax the hell out of marijuana. Know that right now, enjoying it under, medical or whatever, you're not really being taxed unless it's recreational. But that taxing will force you to go back to how you used to do it because it's going to tax you out of that. So we got to be careful about how we look at the decriminalization of it and make sure that they walk this shit all the way through. Because I don't want another cigarette thing. The tobacco industry was forced out. They were, because there were faults there. But it took years for these organizations to find those faults. So if we give them all this time to find faults with marijuana, how do you think they're gonna hit us? It's gonna be tough and it's hard. The only good thing we got is that it's bringing in almost $11 billion in revenue in the United States of America across all these different states. Revenue that people wasn't even expecting. So it has its ups, but it needs to be worked out, because I'm not trying to pay $100 for an eighth. Just not, I'm just being for real on some real shit. I'm just go ahead and just throw it out there. Can we sue for not getting the stymie he promised? Now that might sound like a more plausible plan if we get together on that, okay? Because he did forget about us, and we pay taxes too, so it's our money too. Exactly. You think we're not gonna get? So you think that tax deficit is gonna hit the government, and we're not gonna be penalized? We're probably gonna be some of the most hardest hit. Are you kidding me? Chill out. Just slow your boat. Hey, Risa, good morning. What up? Good morning to you. What's the point of him being a president? He's just trying to float the boat. I think this man honestly wanted to just beat Trump and just make it to the next election. But he has got to be something. He's got to do something a little harder. Prisons is a business. They are in make it. Yeah. And what kills me is that a lot of the prisons are funded by federal government dollars. When you look at how these private prisons are funded, a lot of it comes from federal dollars. So they're still on the line for prison treatment, how people are treated in prisons, trying to get away. Oh, it's privately managed. What the fuck that means to me? With federal inmates, okay. Biden acting like he got dementia is pathetic. I think he really do. I'm for real. And probably most of the ones complaining ain't paying taxes anyways. All them tax havens and shelters. He doesn't need to run for another term. He definitely been a disappointment. Yeah, and I'm sad to say this too. Kamala, VP Harris, Vice President Madam Harris, what's up? I expected a lot from you. Now I know you can't outshine Biden, and that's by force and nature. But damn, give us something. You can't just be out there all the time with the immigrants. Now, I get it. You probably know more about it, but the optics of that is starting to bother me. Every time we got an immigrant situation, you're the one talking about it. Okay. All right. I mean, okay, how do you feel about that? I would at least start saying, like, hey, now go put somebody else on. I just need my hookah and I'm good. Okay. Morning, Tracy. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I wish they stopped electric senior citizens for presidency. They take us back instead of forward, and they don't even know it. It's all, and don't even know we dialing back, baby. We dialing back at the speed of Biden. Speaking of senior citizens, so we finna get into Louisiana senator. Now, everybody's in their midterm elections, so everybody is going hard on their campaigning. Now, this Louisiana senator, John Kennedy, I'm sorry, he decides to put out an ad. Now, we're going to watch this ad, right? There's two things I want you to look for. The first thing I want you to look for is, who do you think he is talking about? Who do you think he's talking about? I want you to watch it and be like, objectively, put yourself as if you don't even know anything going on, and just sit there and say, who could he be talking about? Put your in that shoes. And then secondly, I want you to tell me if you see this anywhere in this video. If you see this anywhere in this video, please put an old man face in the chat if you see it. Because trust me, baby, if I didn't see it, I started crackling into. I said his teeth is about to fall out. While he's sitting here trying to, be funny, he needs a whole shoe strap or seatbelt on his mouth. This shit about to fall out. So let's get into this, y'all. Crazy man.
I blame the violent crime is surging in Louisiana. Woke leaders blame the police. I blame the criminals. A mom should not have to look over her shoulder when she's pumping gas. I voted against the early release of violent criminals, and I opposed defunding the police. Look, if you hate cops just because they're cops, The next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead. I'm John Kennedy, and I approve this message. Violent crime is surging in Louisiana. Woke leaders blame the police. I blame the criminals. A mom should not have to look over her shoulder when she's pumping gas. I voted against the early release of violent criminals, and I opposed defunding the police. Look, if you hate cops just because they're cops, the next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead. I'm John Kennedy, and I approve this message.
Excuse me, sir, call a who? Call a crackhead? Is this something politicians are saying in 2022? Let's just be real and be honest. Call a crackhead? How about we call an opioid victim, a person of opioid? Why don't you say that? A meth head. How about that? And as I was reading comments on, Twitter under these videos, specifically under the video. Now, this video came straight from his Twitter page. Baby, we were sounding off. Black Twitter was sounding off. Like, oh, what's the difference between a meth head and a crackhead? Oh, the color of the skin. Because in your city and where you are, honey, you suffered one of the largest meth crisis in that area. So crackhead, I'm sure those moms aren't worried about a crackhead. They need to be worried about a prescription bottle. Okay, we need to be worried about your doctors giving out prescriptions, nigga. You talking about crackheads. But see, the sad thing is people in his community will see this message as a sign of, you tell them that's right, we had to say it, I had to say it, and they'll take that shit as a badge of honor. And it's not. It's a joke. Nowadays politicians are campaigning using this kind of rhetoric. Can you imagine? And let's just be real. Can you imagine Barack Obama saying something like this in his campaign, one of his campaign messages? Next time you're in trouble, call a meth head. Do you know how he would have been attacked? Do you know how that would have looked? The optics of that, a black man coming out here saying that kind of, rhetoric, but you got him out here and it's okay. For me, I'd have had all kind of uproar. Like, no, that's, you owe an apology. Now let's talk about crackheads. Let's say there was a crackhead. What if one recovered? And you talking about call a crackhead? You just offended a certain amount of people in the population. God forbid they have an advocacy group that comes up and want to go off on you. You got to be careful. You're on that level, God forbid somebody get emotional distress and want to sue your ass. You got to think about all of that shit. I wish they stopped electing. Oh, I'm sorry, I read that. Please become a member, not his mouth. Yes, baby, he needs some denture cream. He needs some adhesive tape. He needs gorilla glue. Okay. Good morning, Miss Juicy Reviews. Good morning, Call Cooter Brown. He does meth while we're talking about it. So that's why I said call crackheads. No, call your nearest friend, your dealer, Mr. Meth Mouth. Now he really looks like he got something going on there. He looked like he done lost some teeth due to meth. That surely wasn't from food. You can't tell me that. Imagine Judge Mathis running for governor saying that. It's exactly, Neries. Imagine that. You can't. It's not even acceptable. But here we go. We got him doing it, and they're out there celebrating and cheering that shit on. I'm like, all right, you have to be careful, because there will come a day in time where the tides will turn, and we will get to say some shit like that. Yeah, I'm not saying we, but people who oppose that kind of rhetoric, they'll have something to say on the flip side. All these mass shootings and stuff like that. Why don't you target them? Crackheads is probably a small part of what you're dealing with when you're talking about violence in your communities. Shows how much he knows. All violence is not related to crackheads. I want everybody to know that. It ain't all crackheads. The majority of the time, they're trying to fight to survive. They don't have what they need. They on the streets with signs and shit. You have them heavy drug dealers, people who are heavily involved in the trafficking and facilitating and the distributing and producing of the drugs, who are more of your violent offenders than the actual crackheads. But they don't know that kind of stuff. They just see the optics. Nasty black person on the corner, that's a crackhead. He's violent. Okay. You think a crackhead is that skilled and organized to be doing a home invasion? I mean, some of them are on crack, but they got a little bit of skill set to them. They are a little bit more involved. A crackhead ain't going that far. They ain't going that far unless they live with you and they're already stealing shit. So again, a wrong messaging. I don't know who the fuck he was talking to, but I definitely would have been in his council meeting. Like, so can we talk about this message you put out, crackheads? I think I know you have a couple in your community, Can we talk about that? Are you fearful of them? They're white too. Are you like we had to get it cracking up in there? Can we have a conversation here, or you want to do it later? Email, like, what's up? You can't just be out here talking all willy fucking nilly. Now, that's all I really have for politics that I saw of interest. I wanted to talk more about the Hurricane Ian, but it's just a lot, and I got a little bit of time, so I'm gonna have to catch that on another live. Probably, who knows? I'm gonna catch that on another live. Now we're gonna switch over into crazy stories. Now these are some of the craziest stories that I've came across in the last couple of days. I share some on my community wall, but I definitely want to provide you with some context. Hardly any violence is related to crackheads. Ha ha ha. All right, y'all. Now, before I do that and I switch over, I've promised myself that I'm going to start taking these little breaks to recoup, get myself together. So I will be right back. I'm gonna take a little break. Y'all hit the like button. I'll be back with crazy stories. It's just a 1 minute break. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. All right. So now moving on to crazy stories. Thank you for that. Oh my God. This next one is really, really crazy. Yes, baby. Okay. Okay, a whole intermission. Okay. I needed to start building those in because when you go, you lose momentum. You need to build that back up. And I'm learning, I'm watching content creators. Shout out to the plainest Jane doing your thing. Such an amazing person to watch. Just her candor, her ability to keep you entertained throughout all of her topics. I advise you to go check out one of her shows. When I tell you, when you want to see what I want to get my level of my show to, go watch her show, and then you'll be seeing like, oh, I see how he's moving. I definitely inspiration. I love everything about her topics and how she presents them. So shout out to the plainest Jane. You don't know I'm watching, baby, I'm watching. All right, let's finish this show up. So this next story was freaking crazy, right? So this girl, her name is Lil Chanel Patterson. Now she was charged with aggravated assault for shooting at a North Park mall and placed on bond. Now, what's crazy is I'm sure this girl did not expect for her day to end up like this. So she ended up going to this mall, and apparently, I guess maybe she was hungry, maybe she was thirsty. I don't know what the case was, but she ended up trying to steal some popcorn from the store. Now, the store owner caught her. He caught her like, hold up, shorty, what's going on? What are you doing? And she then decided to pull out a gun to try to get him off of her or whatever, but the store owner shot her in her leg in self-defense. So of course, now She did not expect that I'm about to go steal some popcorn and get shot in my fucking leg because of that. I'm sure you thought it was a weak ass store attendant, unmanned, no gun. See, this is what y'all gonna fucking in for. Y'all gonna start learning. It's enough stories that I've seen to know not to try with a store owner. I just, first of all, I'm not a criminal, but second of all, I'm starting to learn. They're evolving as well. Electronic alarm systems are not just enough. They are out here arming themselves. And sure, who would ever thought a popcorn store in the store where who would think you walking around with a whole gun in Walmart and in these stores and shit? Now, this was a mall. Who would have ever expected that? Well, it happened. And so she gets arrested, but she was taken to, of course, she was taken to medical attention immediately afterwards. Then she was booked into the Madison County Detention Center on aggravated assault with a weapon charge. Now, here's the crazy part. Instead of them charging her as a juvie, she's now being charged as an adult. And I said, that's exactly what happens. Does the consequence meet the crime? I absolutely agree. Girl, you don't know who was in the mall. You pulling out guns and shit. I don't know what other store you could have went in, tried to steal some shit. I'm sitting in there. Yeah. Now, there was a father and son present, and I don't know if you all saw this clip. It was it was definitely something shocking and sad to see, especially for your son. Now, the moment was cute. Father, getting his son his first pair of Jordans. I'm like, damn, that shit, what, it's a moment. They're having a moment. And then all of a sudden you hear ricochets of guns. The man just flipped, So look, take a look at this clip. And I got it. Shout out to the Neighborhood Talk. I got it from their Instagram page.
First time having Jordans. They're really cool. Kung Fu. And second, yeah, my second Jordan. I did not forget. Of course, this one still has paper.
You actually decided to keep them looking like that. And I want you to keep the paper in them. Yes, yeah, you know, I mean, after you take them off. That's how they stay looking. That's how they stay looking this tight and not like bent all over here like that.
You know, just the paper.
That's my paper and go back in your other shoes.
Okay. Same thing. Yeah, same thing.
And see, I bought red. Come on, over here. Come on.
Ignorant, very ignorant of her to think to even pull a stunt like this. Shame on her. Now I don't know what the parent structure household looks like, but if the 16-year-old is walking around with a gun and willing to steal popcorn out of a store, that lets me know all I need to know. So I have no sympathy for her at all. There's no, maybe, nope, not at all. I'm sorry. You pulling some stunts like that, your ass you need to get shook up a little bit. If this was a white person, I say the same fucking thing. You got to do a better job of managing and watching your kids. I don't feel bad for her at all. It sucks. Now I shared this on my community wall of Firenza Murphy. Now, this was the craziest shit I've ever heard. So this guy escaped prison. Now, he wasn't really in a prison. He was more so in like a group home detention center. So he had escaped on August 1st, around August 8th, he had been on the run. And so apparently he had been on the run in the area and no one really knew where he was. Well, on September 30th? They caught this man at his own birthday party. Now the police were tipped off that he was there at the location. And that's why I said, why would he even think something like this was smart? First of all, family and friends, do y'all not think somebody's there is going to say something or tell? Not everybody's loyal. And that was the whole point of me bringing this story out. I don't care if you feel like you got the tightest family, the tightest bond, somebody is going to snitch. We already see it. Everybody is holier than thou. There will always be a holier than thou person in every group. Even if you think the group is tight and okay, we all gonna do this, nobody gonna say nothing. Somebody's gonna say something. I guarantee it. May not be now, may not be months later, may not be a year, but someone's gonna say some shit. It's the nature of human being. It's the nature of having information and struggling with whether I should share it or do I keep it. That eats at people. And then when you profess to be holier than thou, what the fuck you think happens? We see it down, we see it everywhere. Okay, we're not gonna do this, and then the next moment, well, now wait. So I can totally see him coming. I can see my TT. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can see my TT, me on the run. Now, mind you, she worked in the criminal system all her life, so she's about that. So she ain't playing with it. I could see me having, then all of a sudden she show up. Jerome, I done told you. I done told and so I could see her totally pulling a stunt like that. I completely see her pulling a stunt like that. So you have to be mindful of who you tell, where you show up at, who you gonna be around. There's no fucking way I would have showed up. I'd have been on FaceTime. That'd have been different. Hey y'all, what's going on? No, you've been on a run since August 8th, and that was almost a month and a couple of weeks, and you think they ain't on your ass? And the statement that the police gave, listen to this shit right here. So cocky, so fucking cocky. If you make your way into Henry County, we're going to get on your trail and we won't stop until you're caught. And I said, okay, what about, don't make me dig up what open cases y'all got while y'all getting on this man now. Don't get too fucking cocky. It's always, it's always a one up on a bitch. You can't be too cocky. How many open cases y'all got? How many untested rape kits over there? How many kids dealing with child abuse in your community? Why you talking about this man escape? Let's just be easy. You got him. Let's just relax. Let's not go over. I always look like, no, the fuck now. No, why was all of that necessary? You got him. Okay, we got him. Great. He wasn't even doing nothing illegal. He should have still been in jail, but he was trying to celebrate his birthday. Still get it. I can settle for this story a lot more than another story. That's basically what I'm saying. Like, relax on that. What up, Nate? Good morning. Good morning. Right. No sympathy. No sympathy. What up, Chef? Hey, yo, shout out to Chef Don Don. I had a pleasure of watching your live the other day, and I had a great time. If you all aren't subscribed, I definitely share his channel on my community wall. Consider giving him a like, a subscribe. Dope content. We have similar interests. We care about some of the same topics, and we both touch on the story I'm about to touch on tonight. I mean later, that you touched on, and we both kind of connected because I was listening to you share, and I'm like, baby, you don't even know. I've been down that road. So thank you for being here. It's a pleasure, as always, and definitely check out Chef Don Don's channel. I need to get the link. Let me grab your link real quick, and I'm gonna put the link in the chat so that it's easier for you all to just go ahead and click on. Soon as it pops up, bear with me, y'all. Y'all know how technology is. You open a new window, all hell breaks loose. Computer be like, look, bitch, I already got 10 open. What you trying to do? Like, now look, you gonna close something else to open me up? That's exactly what my computer gives me. All right, here it go. Got you. All right, y'all. Here you go. Here you go. Check it out. Check it out. And Chef Don Don, I'm having like a boys' night next week, another one. And so I'm looking for people to be on a panel. So if you are available, I'll hit you back channel. You might hop on the panel with us. I got a bunch of crazy topics I done collected that I want to just run through with you all. So I'm looking forward to that. What up, Nova? Good morning. It's good to see you. I would have been somewhere low key, not low key. Who you telling? Low key. If I done been out since August 8th, you think I'm about to show up in the hood at a fucking birthday party? Y'all would be mad at me. I thought he was gonna be there. Beware. You thought wrong. Everybody would have got a text message at the same time. Hey, with a picture and a video message. Like, yo, you got me fucked up. I don't trust nobody. You need to, like, no. Absolutely not. An auntie or an uncle must have heard of a reward and ratted him out. That's the same thing I thought. I said, now, you know damn well. You already know. He probably in there like, if he got a baby mama, that's who told. I would have showed up at the party. It all depended on who made the potato salad. Okay. Good morning, Jernay. Good morning. Of course, of course, of course. You owe me some child support, and you partying. Oh hell no. Okay, get your ass up out of here, nigga. What the fuck you thought? Wow, I can totally see that. That's his fault. Now this is totally his fault. So he's gone now. Guess what, y'all? They said he had about a year. I think it was a year or 6 months left in his detention that he would have been in had he stayed the course. Now they're adding additional charges on upwards of 5 more years, this time in an actual jail facility. I said, there and see how your life changes just by making a dumbass. If all you tell me I got 6 months to a year left, y'all ain't seen me at no fucking party, bitch. Come put some on my commissary. Ho, if y'all want to party, you can we can party between a glass door. Put some on my commissary. Ain't no fucking partying. So now he really ain't gonna be partying. He fucking escape, nigga. You got another try to escape to work on some real shit. Like, ain't no way I'm giving up that much time for a party. Yeah, right. I'm down. I'm here for a good key. Okay. All right, cool. Thank you. I would have been like, who said that in my portion? You know I would have. I'd have called my mom on the phone. You need to find out who in the family said something. That's the next biggest mission. That's it. And that's all. Done deal. I wouldn't have probably even had to say nothing. All right, let's move right along. Now, this next story, baby, listen, okay. We're moving slowly into our more take a breather story. So this next story really touched my soul. I labeled it under crazy because it wasn't intentional. So I put it under crazy. Now, this mother of a 7-year-old, and allegedly they're the parents. I don't think he's the father, but whatever. Parents of a 7-year-old killed in Clayton County, hit and run, arrested. Now, let me tell you about this shit here. Y'all like definitely like turn the volumes up. So, this woman and this man had just moved to a hotel with 3 kids, right? 2 girls, 9 years old. I don't know if they were twins, but they both were 2 9-year-olds. And this 7-year-old girl who had epilepsy, who had terrible seizures, who would be who had terrible seizures, who would be falling asleep and sort of having states of shocks and moments all the time. So they're at the hotel, right? And apparently the mother and father had been doing this same routine every night. So what they would do is leave these kids in the hotel room and then go do Uber Eats. Smoke a little weed in the hotel in front of these kids and then go do a little Uber Eats throughout the night and come home early, 6 a.m. in the morning. Now they gone all night long doing Uber Eats. I said, these police officers, they got, I guess they got to take the statements because, bitch, I'd have been all over you doing Uber Eats all that amount of time. Bitch, you should have a lot of money. What the fuck? Uber Eats, you doing Uber Eats from 8 p.m., 4 p.m. one day all the way to 6 a.m. the next day? What the fuck where? Wow, I didn't even know Uber Eats allow people to be servicing that long. I think that's a case. Bitches need to take breaks now. I know it ain't a union and it's contract work, but god damn, bitch, your back don't hurt just sitting in the car driving that long. Anyways, so they did that. Now, the 7-year-old girl opens the hotel door. Now, all of this is caught on CCTV camera from the hotel, from the parking lot to the street. She opens the hotel door, stumbles herself outside to the highway. Now, hotels dip off on a highway. Well, this road was right next to the hotel. And she goes into the highway and this car hits her, knocks her out, knocks her dead. It's back to the side of the road. The person driving the car is still out there to this day, a complete hit and run. Now, the bystanders saw this, ran over, called the police. The police shows up, not knowing what's going on. So somehow they find out that the child is from the nearest hotel that's standing right there. He walks up these stairs to a door that's open and finds 2 other kids, the 2 9-year-olds, sleeping. So he goes to the hotel management, like, whose unit, who is this? Do you got a number? Calls the mother and father and arrests their ass. And I said, wow, are you kidding me? they get arrested. Now, they tried to show up on site. They get arrested, but it took 4 hours for them to show up, between them calling, getting the police there. The girl had been dead. She had been sitting on the side of the road, just dead. This is, now look at this shit. This is the parent. These are the parents. This is the mother, and this is the father. Mug shots. Police say when they got to the unit, the hotel unit, they could smell marijuana. So they've been arrested. They've been charged with cruelty to children in the second degree, contributing to the deprivation of a minor, and reckless conduct. They say that eventually, when investigators say that the children, were using them going to deliver food, and they left a cell phone in the room with the children so that they could call them if anything happens, and that they used drugs before leaving. So now DFACS has took the children into their care. Officials say they will be placed with family members who live out of state. They've been booked into the county jail. They're now asking anyone for any information for the driver that killed Kemoria Williams. Now, the police say this has been a terrible case, that they all have found this to be emotional. And I don't blame them. Your child struck on the side of the fucking road, just been sitting there for 4 hours till somebody finally sees her to call police. Can you imagine, yo? And you don't come back to check. You don't see nothing. Little girl just on the side of the road. That shit tugged at me. Now check out what they had to say about what's going on in this case. This shit really tugged at my spirit, y'all. Sometimes people can really be, to their own children, can be really careless. Ain't no fucking way I'm leaving my child. I get circumstances require you to do certain things, but protocol should be in place.
New attend tonight, the parents of a 7-year-old girl who was hit and
killed in a hit and run last month have been arrested. Clayton County Police arrested 33-year-old Crystal Williams and 36-year-old Jordan Wint Tuesday on charges of cruelty to children, contributing to the deprivation of a minor, and reckless conduct. Officers found the body of Kemoria Williams around 2:15 in the morning along Tara Boulevard. Surveillance video showed the young girl playing in a hotel parking lot for about 10 minutes before she walked to that busy street. Officers say the girl's parents had left her and 2 other children alone for nearly 4 hours while they delivered food. Authorities say Williams and Wint had used drugs before the child left the room.
I'm telling you, you never really know.
Story. A lot of questions here.
You never really know how careless people can be with children. I would have never expected for that amount of time to go on without you knowing that something happened to your child. Like, no check-ins, no come by, no calling on the cell phone, realizing nobody's picking up. Then you show up. It wouldn't have took nobody that long for me to realize that. And that's, that was the biggest thing to me. This little baby girl out there by herself alone. Now she's dead and her body just sitting there alone, like nobody gave a fuck about her. That bothered me a lot. Absolutely a lot. Good morning, Esther. Good morning. Good morning. They lying. They ain't Ubering that long. Who Ubering that long? Yeah, right. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? Uber Eats don't even allow. So I figured that. Who's Ubering that long? Oh, damn. What the fuck? I mean, I'm sure it's stiff competition. Why am I not surprised? I was going to say working in CPS for 4 years. Unfortunately, it's normal for them to charge the parents. Sure, they will charge them with more charges. Yeah, they absolutely need to be charged. That's reckless all the way around. Clearly, you're not suitable to even keep the kids. You all are living in a hotel. You just been there for about a week. And your main source of income must be doing Uber Eats combined, I guess, together, one account. I think it was the perfect time for them kids to be moved out. It sucks that it came at the expense of one child, though. Now, I want to briefly touch on this story because it's just been sending shockwaves, and it had me shocked too as well. Like, damn. So have you all heard about this Thailand, the mass shooting that happened in Thailand? The man had been in a court earlier that day around 12 noon, right? He had been in court, and then after court, he went to this daycare facility where he was expecting to see his son, but he didn't, and he went the fuck off. And I think they're dubbing this Thailand's what are they saying, that this is Thailand's worst worst offense. I think they're saying like it's Thailand's worst. Where's my hold up? Pardon me, y'all. Hold on real quick. On my screen. All right. So dubbing this Thailand's worst mass killing in their history, and clearly it is. For me, I just assumed that they would have a lot of more security in place, for a lot of this. I was shocked that he got out of the daycare facility, went down the street stabbing people, was able to get to his wife and his child stabbing folks. So here's the bare bones and the meat and potatoes of this story. It's only 20 seconds long, but here's the critical information.
Noon at a daycare center, apparently looking for his own son who wasn't there. He was at home. And something set him off, and he began to shoot, and some witnesses say stab some of the children. He went into a room where some of them were sleeping before, as you said, driving home and then killing himself, his wife, and his child.
So, do we know anything about the gunman at this point, who this person is?
A little bit. He is a former policeman.
That's all I needed to know. And then that's all I needed to know. Then it makes sense as to why it was so horrific, why it proceeded for so long, why, sort of he got away with what he did. He had some knowledge. You have to have that level of understanding to be able to get away with doing that for that amount of time. Now, it's very shocking. They say about between 22 and 24 kids were killed in this at this daycare facility. And so they're doing an investigation. He killed himself. So, I'm sure that out of this investigation, they're going to find that there was a lot of protocols that were breached from their own internal staff. So that is what's been going on with that story. And then there was this other story about the do I have it here? Where my stories go? There was this other story about the slain the slain family in California. Now, this story to me is just odd. So a guy who worked with them had a dispute with them for about a year. And so he showed up and he pulled a gun out, took all of them, took them to a remote location about 5 or 6 miles away. Police were able to track him down based on the ATM card that he used and was able to get him and arrest him before he tried to kill himself. And then they locate the bodies. Everyone is killed. Now, family have come out to tell us that this has been a long dispute between these two. It was business. They had a trucking business. But I just find it interesting that the family, I don't know. I think police still need to ask questions to the family in this case. It's still an ongoing case. They're still, investigating the motive because they really don't see the clear motive. They're all saying it's financial in nature, but they don't see the real clear motive. Yeah, I say, yeah, me too. And I think there has to be somebody internal, in-house family, somebody who knows something that's going on with this story, because you don't just get everybody at the same time at this business. I mean, and no motive. It just gave me hit job, like somebody was hired to do something. Now, the guy said he had a dispute with him for over a year. That's not to be debated. But still, it's just very surprising that it's everyone directly related with this family's business. Rest in peace to them. It's so sad. So very sad. But they said they saw her playing in the parking lot for 10 minutes and nobody did anything then. Nobody called the parents or nothing like that. I'm sure the precedent is already been set with those kids that, if you see them outside unattended, that's okay. Their mom and dad will be back, or, I'm sure that, you got to think about it. Like, because any Joe Schmo, we sit there and see some kids outside playing. Girl, what you doing? You get where your mom at? you get to ask them questions, or you're gonna put a report in or do something, So for them to not have done nothing means to me that they've, this is a repeated pattern. Yes, please hit that like button, y'all. Subscribe and share the live. I appreciate all the support. Yes, I do. Just pour evil in the flesh to go and kill those children like that. Yeah, yeah. What the hell? That was very yes, it was. This is terrible. It's a special place in hell for him. Sick motherfucker, no words. Such a tragedy. What was the nature of the year-long dispute? Financial. He got fired. The older guy, the guy who killed him, I guess he got fired or dismissed from the business, their family trucking business. I guess they imported, how truckers sometimes they own the front part of their trucks, or sometimes the whole entire haul, and they go to distributors and they have these side contracts where they move product to location quicker. And I guess that business is all driven on how fast you can go and deliver products. I guess they had something like that, and I guess he was dismissed either as part ownership or dismissed as an employee. That's the motive that they're trying to find out, like how in depth was he involved with their business for this to be this fatal. Because for me, I'm starting to think like, who was the heirs of the business? Who alive stands the chance of reaping the benefits of now said business? That's who I'll be asking questions to. I'll be looking at every fucking thing around them, how they move. Like, oh, why you going out? You leaving? What you going? Where you going? That's what I'm more concerned about, because to me, this seems way too organized, way too calculated, way too premeditated for me just to say that this man arbitrarily, and they are saying there was an accomplice, but they haven't released any more information. It didn't take both of them. Somebody could have stayed back. That's some bullshit. Yeah, it is. This is why I went early this month when my son-in-law got deployed and my daughter started a new job. I said, send the baby to me. She ain't going to daycare. My mom and her aunts help me while I work. Okay. So y'all pray for me these couple of months with this 3-year. Oh, if she up, if she not up yet. Oh, that's so sweet. So yeah, I'm not buying that. I want more information. I need more details. All right, you all, please hit that like button, share the video if you care. Send a super chat if you care. Drop a cash app. I appreciate all the love and support. We are now about to move into my domestic violence awareness month, where I'm talking specifically about domestic violence news stories that have come across my purview that I've seen and said, oh my fucking God. Now I have grabbed stories all across the board. So I'm not sticking on one race. I'm not sticking on one person or one thing. I'm seeing stories that I find some substance to. Another thing I wanted to share is that always know these facts, these domestic violence facts, because everybody feel like they can't be affected. Even though you're not affected now, there could come some point in your life or somebody that could be affected. So one thing that stood out to me is that 1 in 3 women will be a victim of some form of physical violence, and 1 out of 4 men will become a victim of some form of physical violence in their lifetime. Every 20 minutes, people are physically abused by an intimate partner. Y'all hear me? Every 20 minutes. 34% of people who are injured by intimate partners receive medical care. Domestic violence accounts for 15% of all violent United States crimes. Do you hear me? 15%. 20,000 calls are placed to domestic violence hotlines on a typical day. 500% are increased risk of homicide when a gun is present, meaning if they're having a domestic dispute, if a gun is present, they're 500% more likely to risk a homicide. It may not be that first moment, it may not be that second moment, but eventually, if there's a gun present, they're saying the likelihood of it escalating is there. 72% of all murder suicides involve an intimate partner, and that's critical. We just saw something like that. And then 94% of all the victims of these murder suicides are female. Okay. Women between the ages of 18 and 24 are most commonly abused by an intimate partner. So I just wanted to share that with you all as we start talking about some of these stories. So you'll have some understanding of the facts as we dive into them. Now, I want to shout out Ashanti. Shout out to my baby Ashanti. she shared a very personal story about domestic violence with her sister. I didn't even know it was this deep. I knew that her sister had went through something because I heard her talk about it. I don't know. I was trying to find an interview. I thought it was Breakfast Club, but I heard her talking about it. So she shared on her social media a graphic photo of her sister for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Now, baby, this is the only picture that I grabbed, but the other ones are truly graphic. So she shared this picture of her sister going through her own domestic violence. Now, her sister, the pictures, go look at Ashanti's page for yourself. They're self-explanatory. Oh my fucking God. I didn't even know that her sister went through that. One of them was really bloody with her mouth and stuff like that. All that shit really just, oh my God, people are going through this. But yes, they are. But Ashanti shared this nice message, and I wanted to read it to you all because I think it's of substance. And sometimes some people, I don't know who's listening and who might catch this on the replay, but I think it's a good message here. So Ashanti went on to say, "It is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Words will never be able to express the amount of pain, fury, and disgust I feel reliving these moments. But at the same time, I am so proud of how strong, courageous, resilient, and unbreakable you are. My sister is a warrior. I love you deep and infinitely." She says, "God continues to bless you every day as you grow and prosper and walk in your purpose. The universe always wins. So continue to hold your head high as the sun. I'm so excited for this next chapter of your life." And her sister went on to, thank her for being there, being supportive of her. But I want to remark, her sister said one thing that I thought was very important, especially for those who are domestic violence survivors. She went on to go on to say that, "I look at these pictures and I hold grace and patience for the woman I was and everything she didn't know. I love her and thank her for her role in my journey. I don't consider myself a victim or a survivor. This is all a part of my story, my life, and my journey." And I thought that was very, very key because everybody goes through something. After you go through that something, that's what it is. Your story is defined by how you got out of it. And so a lot of times we see these people go through it, we think that they're down and out, and it's like, pick yourself back up and how you move forward. So I thought that was a great story to sort of talk about and lead into. Like, there is success out of this. Everyone isn't beat down. You don't have to be downtrodden the whole time through. There is light at the end of the tunnel. So as we talk about these stories, knowing that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Now, the first domestic violence story I want to get into is this story of this Marcus Calhoun. Now, I don't know if you all heard about this story, but his 1-year-old born premature dies from a cardiac arrest after his father shoots at her and her family. Now, get into this story. So this guy, Marcus Calhoun, on August 1st, this was August 1st, he had shot at his baby mom and her mother as they were in a car. He drove past and literally shot at them. And luckily, no bullets hit them, but they drove away. They sped off. And so she had then, she decided to, at that time, she was trying to move away from him, get away from him, and she didn't want to be with him anymore, anything like that. So she moved in with her mother. And so her mother had, asking her, like, "Why are you walking around with a bulletproof vest on? And why are you doing all of these different things?" Because her mother didn't know the extent of how her estranged husband was so abusive to her. And so she had been trying to sort of tell her mother that I need to get away. I need to be safe. And now he ends up catching the mother shortly a week after the baby's, because the baby was born a premature, shortly after the baby's first birthday. Now she just turned 2 weeks afterwards, the father shows up at the park where the mother and the daughter is sitting playing at an Avalon Park, and he shoots at the mother again. He gets into her car, pulls out her glove compartment where she keeps her gun to protect herself, and shoots at her. Now she's saved, nothing happens to her, but what happens is that gunpowder for a premature baby is deadly. And now, after that moment, she said her baby began to bleed out her ears, and all kinds of things started to happen. She rushed her baby to the hospital. Her baby's lost her life. So she calls the police, she files a police report. So you know me. because you file a police report, then no shade, no shade. You have to play it out how you can play it out. The police report would have been filed a long time ago, but you have to play it out how you play it out. So these are the details of her story. I'm only giving you the facts of her story. So now he's arrested. The man is arrested. She wants him to rot in jail. I want him to sit in that jail for the rest of his natural unborn life. She goes on to say, no one can tell me otherwise. That gunpowder affected her lungs. It affected her, caused her lungs to fail. And he's now currently being held in the county jail. This is I sometimes I be wondering, like, God damn, like, do y'all not care about your offspring? Do you not consider your baby? Do you not, it's a preemie in the car. Did you not know something was going to happen? Like, that's your seed. I sometimes I be saying it and I don't be trying to be vulgar with it, but that's your DNA, bro. What are we doing?
As her 1-year-old child came into this world early and left way too soon. Doctors say little Leilani died from cardiac arrest not long after a shooting where thankfully the bullets missed this little one. But police say the child's father was the shooter. Channel 2's Tom Jones is live in Henry County, where her mother thinks that shooting played a role in her death. Tom?
Yeah. And Wendy, it's important to note that Marcus Calhoun does not face any charges in connection with his daughter Leilani's death. But police say he does face charges after he opened fire, shot about 5 times into the car that Leilani and her mother were in. Her mother says, Leilani's mother says that the bullets didn't kill her daughter, but she thinks the gunpowder did.
She's a little miracle.
Little Leilani has traveled a rough road since coming into this world 4 months early.
She came out with a lot of complications.
Severe bleeding on both sides of her brain and 3 different lung diseases.
For a baby who went through everything she went through, she was a joy to be around.
Leilani recently celebrated her first birthday. She was doing well. On August 10th, Leilani and her mother went to Avalon Park. That's when Anjanita Harris says her estranged husband, Leilani's father, jumped in the car wanting to know why she left him. Harris says Marcus Calhoun reached into her glove compartment and grabbed her gun. Deputies say he then opened fire.
He shot into the car 5 times.
Harris sped off. Neither she or Leilani were hurt physically. Calhoun was arrested in Columbus. Then, September 2nd, Harris noticed Leilani didn't look right. She felt faint.
At that moment, we knew she was about to leave.
Leilani died that night of cardiac arrest, but her mother...
Yeah, first of all, he don't need to have kids. So him being behind bars, not out here repopulating the world, would be just fine for me. I do perfectly fine. Keep that nutcase far away from being around women and children. What a fucking absolute nutcase. And not even wanting to kill her mother too, on the first instance. So not on just her mother and your baby. Yeah, you a nutcase for real. Now this was the story that I heard yesterday at Chef Don Don's channel. Very, very sad story. And so I went to go and look at it myself. So this Buffalo mother of 3 fatally shot in front of kid after posting a domestic violence video. Now this one is really, really crazy to me, and I'm not going to share the video, but if you want to see the video, she posted she put a camera in her place, and she posted some video footage of him attacking her, brutally beating her. So it's on my Twitter page at King Roman News, but I won't share the video here. We'll just talk about this story. So this happened in Buffalo, New York. Now that caught my attention because, I'm from Rochester, New York. So that's a sister city right over. So her sister had been saying that her sister had been crying out for help. She had been trying to get help so much. She had been texting the family videos of what was going on. She had been calling people. They said she was going with her to police stations. She gave her the password to her phone just in case something happened. So she had been staying at her mother's house for the last couple of days, and she was getting ready to go to court so she can get like a temporary custody order of the child. Well, unfortunately, on her way to court, she dropped her babies off at school. And while she was doing so, she told her mom, she's at the house, and she pushed on this particular day, Wednesday, She puts on a bulletproof vest. Now her mom, like I would have, girl, what you putting on a bulletproof vest for? And she's like, Mom, he's going to kill me one day or sooner than later. Well, lo and behold, on this day, she decides to get into her car with her babies to drop them off. And she turns around the corner and he opens fire with the shotgun, right? Point blank, crashes into her car, gets out the car with a shotgun, shoots her dead, gets back in his car, and flees the scene. Now, what's funny is this isn't the first time he's did this same act to another female. Back in 2000, to his ex-girlfriend, he did the same shit. Crashed her car, drug her out the car, and it took people calling the police for him to get caught then. So, of course, we're saying history precedes itself. So now this mother, she's dead. She's shot dead in front of her baby in the car. Now her ex-boyfriend, the mother of the father of one of her children, not the one who, the suspect here, one of the father of her other children, he was the actual dad of the baby that was sitting in the car. He was the dad, and he came out and said that this was sad, that he shouldn't even have been out, because, my kid you or not, he had been arrested 4 days prior to this very same charge, domestic violence against her, but they released him. And so in the fact that he was released, this occurred. Now, he said that he shouldn't have been out, and that she was, trying to get help from him. She would call him to say, what should I do? And he said that when he saw her post that video on Facebook and everybody saw it, everybody was reaching out to her to try to help her out and try to figure out, what's going on in your household, get some help for her. And so it never came to fruition. And that's what really got me about this, is that I just don't understand how he never been stopped along the way. I don't know what's going on with family dynamic. We go up for one thing, and I gotta talk about it. You fuck with kids, the whole family going up, bitch. What? You know what I'm saying? You fuck with moms, pops, what? But I have noticed this, but let a female in the family that may not be directly related to you or may not be showing signs of I need help, but you can physically see it. It's almost like, do you not, where is there care? I know me. That's why certain cousins of mine don't even fuck with me, because I know me. I'm gonna say something, bitch. If I see it, I'm gonna say something. I don't give a fuck who's around, what's going on here. That's just me. Been there, done that, y'all. Some cousins don't even talk to me for it. I don't, hey, then fine. I just don't want to be around it. But how I couldn't imagine being with my sister or my brother, showing you videos of me getting attacked the way it is on my Twitter page, and we're still just riding around. Like, I don't know. That bothered me too, that family dynamic there. I felt like, yeah, you can only do so much, but when you have rough evidence like this, there's something you can do. Now, he has been arrested, not in connection to her murder, but they're questioning him about her murder. At this point, they're just questioning him. They haven't charged him yet. They're saying that he should be considered dangerous and possibly armed. A reward of $7,500 is going to be offered to him. So they haven't charged him. They're just looking for him to come in for questioning. That's some bullshit to me, all the way around, some bullshit. And it's so sad that not even a public plea couldn't even help until afterwards. I mean, all of us saw this, and that didn't even do shit. Granted, she was posting other shit before this video went viral, and that stopped nothing. I can only fucking imagine. Shit, if I hear a woman and man fighting above me or anything, I'm already all over it. Wait, what's that? What's going on? The fuck? Yes, I am. I'm like that. So I don't know. I think this is a case where when you see something, you gotta say something. It don't matter how early it is. I don't know how earlier in this process she could have been helped. It ain't nobody's fault. It ain't nobody's responsibility to help her. But I do think a little bit of help, additional support, that additional girl, I come pick you up right now. could have went a long way. That additional, you ain't got to go back over there, could have went a long way. That additional, you know, you want me to ride with you to go take these kids? You want me to drive? I'm just thinking about the care I would have provided. You, where you going? You're not without me, bitch. Let's go. You know, this is my baby sister or this is my relative, and you're going through that, and you're actively trying to get out of it. You're not like you still want to be a part of. You're actively. I don't know. I feel like, you know, and then he gets out and recklessly just shoots her while the child is still sitting in the car. Yeah, I don't know, y'all. I'm sorry. Um, I lost two sisters. Yes, yes, I was listening. I was listening. Yes, I was listening to you. I heard you tear up a little bit too. Those stats are alarming, but they are fact. Yeah, domestic violence is real. We have to get help when we can. Sometimes it's too late. I lost. Yep. I'm sorry to hear that too. I'm so sorry to hear that. So sorry to hear that. And never say it can't happen. Never, baby. Shout out to the domestic survivors. My mother is one. Shout out to all the mothers who have survived their domestic violence past, baby, till today, where they're here and they can talk about it in a way that it doesn't affect them. I love that when you do talk to people and they tell you, you know, you hear the strength in them. It's almost like, you know, I've been through that. I can get through any fucking thing, you know. So shout out to all them, those brave women and men who have faced domestic violence, because we're gonna get into a story about a man. What up, Zap? What up? Good morning, Zap. Shout out, Zap. Shout out, shout out, shout out. Thank you for coming through. Good morning, everyone. On your way in, please hit that like button, y'all. I hope y'all enjoying our conversation this morning. I'm vibing with y'all. I hope y'all enjoy it. Please hit that like button. Please, please, please. Head into work, King. Thank you. Love you too, Ox City. Thank you for being here. I wonder, did she get police involvement? This is such a tragedy. That's my thing. Like, are you kidding me? Amazing. Yes. Yes. It was Zap. I mean, oh my God. BMW, crazy. Man, some people really don't deserve these precious gifts. They don't. And that's a whole fact. It'll take a dedicated, willing to dig into the law prosecutor to be able to file charges that connected. Clyde, you where I'm at. I'm like, now the problem is going to be tying him to that actual case. That's going to be it. Someone have to dig deep in the law to make it stick. Yep. So fucking sad. If there was a Ring doorbell around, hopefully there was some CCTV footage around, you know, God forbid she had a dash cam on her car, you know. So sad to live in fear like that. Prayers to the children. King, I honestly stay out of it. I have 6 sisters. They all have been victims of domestic violence, but women will not leave till they are ready. You can fight their boyfriends and you end up in jail. And we have that going. We've had that. We've had that. We absolutely have had that. They laying in bed, putting ice on each other knots. They usually go back over and over again. Yep. Yep. That's exactly, you're right. You're right. It's a cycle. It's a vicious cycle. And it's so common in our communities. It's so prevalent in our communities. And you know, a lot of times people don't speak up and say nothing. And like you said, you know, we'll get past this little hump, but that one moment, that one little instance can be your forever ever. You know, domestic violence is nothing to play with. It really isn't. I get everyone makes a mistake, but the mistake can't become a habit that, you know, you take joy in. You take joy in making me cower to you, or you know, that can't become a habit. It's not healthy, and it doesn't last. I will say that domestic violence doesn't last. Eventually two things happen. One, you know, behavior changes, or two, y'all, it's despising. I don't like you. You know, that's hate. And when you're gonna try, eventually you're gonna try to get away from it. Eventually divorce happens. Eventually, because it doesn't work. You can no longer beat on someone and expect them to love you the same way. It doesn't work like that. You can't even do that to you can't beat on your dog and expect you to have a loving dog. I see that with people all the time. I'm watching them when their dog, I'm like, look at his dog don't even like him. That man be fucking his dog up. And I see it all the time, especially where I'm at. These niggas out here. So yeah, this one was a sad one. I don't, you know, again, I don't feel bad for him at all. Look at him. I mean, just look at him. They to be honest with you, they all giving me crunch face, munch mouth, loose teeth. But he'll get what's coming to him. If he don't get it legally, he gonna get it another way. I promise you that. That'll eat at his soul forever. The mother of your kids. Now I have two more stories. Two more stories left. And before I do, I just want to tell you all, please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and that thank you for being here. I did do an Amazon birthday wish list. My 35th birthday is coming up October 19th. If you so do care, I did drop the link in the chat earlier, but I did put it on my community wall. If you want to take a look at the list, or if you want to support the channel in any way, again, remember everything is appreciated here, and you are not obligated to do anything. But I thought this was a nice way for us all to celebrate. So there's a wish list if you want to take a look at it. Hey Cedric, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for coming through. Good morning. That may be true, but I have told my girls, don't be letting no man beat on you, because me and your dad didn't. You want someone beating you, I can cause I grew you inside my body. Absolutely. And that's ownership of your child. You understand that. Don't nobody need to be beating on your child. Your child. Nobody needs to be beating on your child. Now this next story is crazy, but it's a prime example of domestic violence, and it's probably a very typical story. So this Molino man is charged with battery, 2 counts of child abuse. Now, he had been abusing this woman in front of her kids for some time. You know, it became a normal thing of what he does. But this one time, as they always do, it got out of hand. So he was jealous of her because she was on her phone texting, and he thought she was texting another dude or something. So he took her and banged her head up so hard against the wall that the concrete cracked. So you know what it did to her skull. The 2 kids tried to come in a room to stop him. Get off mommy, get off mommy. And you know what he did to his own kids? He took and threw the girl through the glass table in the living room. Yeah, he took his own little child and threw her through the glass table because he was so mad at her mom. Fuck you. I gotta get her. That shit shocked me. Now, this is what's gonna shock me the more. So she eventually called the police. When the police arrived, he had fled the scene, but she asked them, do you all want to press charges, and do you want medical attention? And what do you think she said on behalf of her and her kids? Y'all tell me what y'all think she said. Just anybody. What you think she said? Do you think she said, yes, I'll press charges? Yes, we need medical attention. Or do you think she said no? Baby, she said no. She said, no, we're fine. I don't want to press charges. I don't need medical attention. But see, where she fucked up was that the police officers saw the girl bleeding on her leg from being slammed on a glass table. So they, at that point, had to press charges. They had to go after him. And this is the cycle that women find themselves in. I'm so scared to go to authorities. I'm so scared to get help that my baby's out here getting hurt. I don't know what else to do. You know, and if I tell you, he's going to come back and I'm going to be in more trouble and my baby's going to get hurt more. I don't know what to do. This is why police have to sometimes go press charges and go get criminals. They have to, because it's hard for you to do it. Now this man is off the street. He's charged. He's booked. Now what else got me was he was charged. The dog, they had a dog that tracked him. He was taken into custody, but guess what? He was later released on bond, $6,000 bond. He was out of jail, done, out. Do you think he went back over to see this woman or not? In addition to that, all the police did was contact the Department of Children and Family Services just to report it. Department of Children and Family Services took the note, but did not remove the kids or anything else. I said, okay, let me make this marker here. So, because I can hear a future fucking story coming down the line. I'm telling you that if he banged her head against the concrete and it was cracked, I can only imagine what happened to her fucking skull. The baby on the glass table. So, okay. I'm just telling you now. If I ever have to redo this story and I say what were the signs, every fucking thing I just said were her signs. That baby, you got to get the fuck out of here. Nobody head should be cracked over some concrete on a wall. I'm telling you that right now. Nobody. It's not, that shit is not normal unless you a fucking AMX WWE wrestler or some shit. It's not normal. Not in front of your kids. And then I go to, where is the family? Where are your people? These men keep these women so isolated that they can't reach out, and nobody's checking on them. Nobody's going after them. I could tell the story now, but I can't put my cousin business out here. But I love her to pieces. Same fucking situation. Cousin be isolated for years and shit. Never get to see her. Then when you see her, she all timid and scared and shit. And it's like, what's going on? I can't even talk to her because she don't want to talk to me about any of it. Literally was my favorite cousin. Never want to talk to me about it, but it is what it is. And I'll never go out and put her business out there, but I'm just very shocked. I'm very shocked. Um, Shout out to the Libras. Thank you, Chef Don Don. Thank you for becoming a member. I appreciate it. Yes, thank you. And if anybody else, if you're interested, please become a member. I really do appreciate the support. I appreciate all of that. I try to always try to find different stories and stuff that touch all of us, given all of our interests. Because every time I do a story, I can test and see what we like and what we don't like. So I always try to bring fresh content, fresh stories for us to have a discussion, a dialogue to start our day with. So I appreciate you being a member of the crew. I appreciate it so much. Yes, this shit was crazy. I can't. No, so sad. She said no. She said no. Oh my God, I can't with these sick people. Don't tell. She said no. She said no. Let me guess, he's the breadwinner. All of that. The state should have picked. They did, and they did. They should have charged her for endangerment for keeping the child in the situation. Can you imagine at walking in and seeing a child's leg bleeding, probably crying too, wipe tears after being slammed through a glass table, shocked and traumatic as fuck, off of a domestic between her father and mother? I just got abused by my dad. My dad just threw me into the table because of what? That's traumatizing. That is traumatizing. And he's out on a $6,000 bond because if she'd have pressed charges and allow her daughter as a victim, also, we wouldn't even be talking about it like this. That nigga would be locked the fuck up. But because she chose not to, we're at this vicious fucking cycle all over again. They should have charged her with child endangerment for saying no. Absolutely. And this society wonders why these kids are coming out so messed up, so angry, so mad, so insensitive. There's no care, there's no empathy. I'll go and shoot and kill somebody. Shit, my dad threw me through a table. I don't give a fuck about nobody. I can totally see that vicious cycle. That's why you gotta take some people, when you see them so bitter and shit, you gotta be like, wow. Sometimes you gotta step back before you attack and be like, wow, you really must have had a fucked up life, to be where you are, how you are. Absolutely, yeah. Good morning, Slim Body Benz. Good morning. Shout out to Slim Body Benz. Thank you for coming through. Member, I don't feel sorry for her. Bang her head again. Knock some sense to her dumbass. I understand if you want to stay and get your ass beat, but letting your baby go through that. I would never. Are you kidding me? There will never be a story. Your child got a story. How embarrassing. Let's talk about pride and respect. How embarrassing of it to now know that your child also was a victim of you getting beat. And let's just go out on a ledge here. And again, everything is allegedly. How likely is it that he came back to the residence, that she let him back in? Come on back. That's why I didn't press charges. I didn't do any of that. She's fine. We okay. I'm sorry. It was my fault. And we're back here again. She's back submitting. And it sucks. It sucked that the kids get swapped up in that too. They get drowned up, they get dragged up in it too, and I'm sure the daughter has to play the role of, it's okay, daddy, I love you, just to facade his ego. That becomes traumatizing. That becomes behavior that is recreated. Can you imagine how this daughter will be with her man or whoever she's dating? What she'll allow to happen to her because I saw with my mom and dad, that I saw I had to treat my dad afterwards. So maybe that's what I got to do in my relationship. Honestly, I'm telling you, and that's why some of these statistics on domestic violence are as high as they are. You know, that's why they're extremely high, because some stuff is so systemic and so built into the DNA and the fabric of our children. They don't know any other ways unless we tell them, you know, come here, baby, you give me a hug. You don't got to go through that. That ain't no shit you go through. You know, you literally do got to tell them. They don't know anything any other way. I can only imagine this girl afterwards scared. I'm sure she be flinching from her dad and shit, you know how that, what is it called? I hate saying battered woman, but that battered person syndrome, when you just you notice it when people are flinching all the time, or they're, sensitive to touch. All of that shit is, feeds into it. My own son jumped on his child's mom again and still upset with me because I wouldn't let him come stay with me. She never called the popo. It's a vicious cycle. It is a vicious cycle. It really is. I don't know what's wrong with women. A mother's instinct is supposed to be to protect her babies against anybody. Yeah, shout out to that little girl. I know she's definitely gonna be going through a lot of traumatizing situations. Now, before I get to my last story, this story here is about this woman who met this black man on Tinder, stabbed, choked him up, tied him up. We're gonna get into this. But before I get into that, I want to run this back one more time for you all. But before I get into my last story, let me take this break. All right. Now, before we get into the last story, I'm going to post this to my community wall, but it is our quote of the day. And it's specifically tied around domestic violence, but it's something I wanted to share with you all. So today's quote of the day is, I used to think that the worst thing in life was to end up all alone. It's not. The worst thing in life is ending up with people who make you feel all alone. Now, I want you to let that resonate with you. I definitely want you to take that with you, and let it resonate with you. But specifically to people who find themselves miserable but not alone, that's worse than you actually being alone. Trust me, trust and believe me. So yeah, I wanted to share that with you all, and I will be posting that to my community wall. And feel free to drop down and let me know what you think. If you have anything to share or any stories that other members of the crew, the family, the subscribers can take from it or touch on it. I love when you all drop down in the comments and I get to read, because everybody's perspective is different. Now let's get into this last story. So this woman, right? She was on Tinder with this guy, okay? And apparently this black man, she apparently, swiped right and got selected, and he swiped right and got selected. So on September 28th, she invited him over to her place on Wednesday. And so he went over to her place. So while he's over there, she was like, she's had him sit on the couch, and then so she started taking off his clothes, taking them off, getting him get him in the mood, and then decides to give him some head. So he's consenting to her giving head and taking his clothes off. So then she took it one step further. Now this is where I said, versus okay, clearly I ain't no shade, no tea, but this is a versus a moment. She pulls out some tape and begins to bind his hands and his feet. And he consented. He looked at her like, what kind of weird, freaky shit? But he consented. You just gave me head. And now you want to type, bitch, I'm done. I'm good. Now, I mean, I don't, what else you trying to get up out of me? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm about good. We really about to, you still trying to, nah, bitch, no. Ain't none of this shit going on. You tying your feet up, you tying my hands up, bitch. You better tie your feet up or something. Can I tie you up? I don't see how this went down, but he allowed it. So then after she tied him up, she goes to the kitchen and get a knife and comes back to him with this knife pointed at him and tells him, go to the bedroom. And he looks at her like, I'm done. Take this shit up off of me. I'm done. At that point, it's too late. He's bound and tied. So he goes and lays on the bed, naked, thing all out. And she jumps on top of him and starts telling him, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to cut you up. And I'm going to dismember you. I said, here we fucking go. This is why, bitch. The minute she pulled that tape out, I'd have been gone like, ho, what are we doing? What are we doing? And here's the thing. Even women are capable of some shit like this. It ain't just men. Women are. And it ain't just white women and white men or a white woman to a black man. Get into it. So she gets on top of him. She slits his whole fucking arm in the bed. Swoop. You thought I was playing, nigga? I ain't playing with you. Slit him. Arm. He bleeding on the bed. Right? Just bleeding. I'm like, this bitch is nuts. Then she starts choking him for 20 minutes. Just dog choking his ass out. Choking him out. That wasn't enough. She went and got a belt and put it around his neck and started choking him out for like 2 minutes. So then finally, she falls asleep. And in between all of this going on, he had got his cell phone and was trying to dial 911. And 911 kept getting the call. And they could hear him saying, you're cutting me. You're hurting me. Why are you still? Well, I'm bleeding all over the place. So they were getting the call, but nobody was responding to them. So they were tipped off, but they didn't show up yet. I said, that was weird. So as she's sleeping, he sees the knife under the bed. So somehow he gets hold to the knife, cuts himself free, and as he's trying to put his clothes on and stumbles, he knocks over something on the dresser. She hears him, so he just runs out the house naked into the parking lot bleeding. She runs after him, bloody hands and shit. And this is where the police apprehend her. I said, a lot. Normally I'd be like, where were the signs? Could he have known? Nigga, could you have known all of that for a nut? You went through all of that for a nut. Like the red flags were taped. And if the roles were reversed, I would tell the woman that. Why that man trying to tape you up and you just came over here off a Tinder? Hell no. Are you kidding me? Yes, even women are on Tinder apps looking for men to have sex with on one night stands and pulling freaky shit like this. Even this kind of crazy weird shit can happen to women. So y'all get into this story because this had me freaked out too.
If you ever needed a cautionary tale about online dating, this is a strong contender.
One alleged victim in Colorado Springs went from hooking up to being tied up, and what happened next sounds like something straight out of a horror movie. Good evening, I'm Bart
And I'm Heather Skold. Thanks for making us your choice for your news at 10 o'clock. Tinder terror Tonight, 13 Investigates is learning startling new details about a Tinder date that turned violent inside a Colorado Springs apartment.
Investigative reporter Sean Rice is live at the Hills Apartments along East Cache La Poudre with more on this bizarre case. Sean?
But Heather, a 21-year-old man arrived here at this apartment complex after meeting a girl on the dating app Tinder. Mere minutes after entering her apartment, he found himself tied up and bleeding profusely after being stabbed multiple times by a kitchen knife.
Pretty shocking to know somebody lives right around the corner is capable of doing this.
Lori Gloria says the Hills apartment doesn't typically see a lot of police activity. They were out in force this past Wednesday night. Court records say Colorado Springs police were there to arrest 22-year-old Lauren Dooley on felony kidnapping and assault charges. She's accused of tying up and cutting a man she had just invited over that night.
It scares me. I mean, I saw the gentleman, he was cut pretty good, and to think that somebody could do that is pretty scary.
Police records say Dooley used a kitchen knife to cut the man's shoulder before placing a belt around his neck and choking him for 20 seconds. The arrest affidavit says Dooley even ordered food from DoorDash, warning the victim, quote, "If you scream or say anything, I'll kill you." After Dooley fell asleep, the man was able to break free and run into the parking lot. It's where Gloria found the pair of young adults.
When I came outside, there was a gentleman outside. He was bleeding and he didn't have any clothes on. And there was a young lady standing in front of him. It was pretty scary.
A search of the apartment revealed a kitchen knife, several blood-soaked rags, and blood in the bathroom. Court records say Dooley refused to speak or answer questions from investigators. She also did not answer her door when 13 Investigates sought answers from the 22-year-old. Now the tight-knit apartment community can only wait and watch, hopeful that this Tinder terror was a one-off, isolated incident.
This is really unexpected. Like I said, all our neighbors here watch out for each other, so I hope nothing like this happens again.
Listen, I was waiting for reports to say she was ready to chop his ass up and eat him. Like, I'm all on this Dahmer thing now. Everybody trying to repeat Dahmer. I'm like, are you kidding me? So she's now facing second-degree kidnapping, 2 counts of second-degree assault, menacing, and false imprisonment, a class 2 misdemeanor. I hope they get this hoe. I hope she is gone because, I mean, why you chose a black man? Why was him? Why him? You got nut in the mouth, nut down the throat, and now you mad? You want to go off this man? Don't be mad at him because you got fetishes, bitch. Go off your own kind. Go. Why you couldn't go get what's wrong? Why, bitch? You went. I'm sure you swiped past a lot of other men who was worthy of what you was trying to offer. You stumble on him, and now, sir, honey, sir, come here. I had to talk to you because I don't know if your father ever gave you the conversation or if you ever had to talk with your homies, nigga. On a one-night stand, it's a one-night stand. Ain't none of that chains and whips with a one-night stand. Who the fuck doing that? Unless you're paying for it. Then you know exactly what you're getting. You let some random female, white female, tie you up with tape. You couldn't even tell your homies that story. This some shit. Like, how do you tell mom? Yeah, mom, that was me. How do you tell people this story? This shit is so, it's almost like, so you told her it was okay to tie you up? That's the part that stops me. So you told her it was okay? Yeah, I mean, I thought, oh, so you into that kind of shit. That would turn me off. I would be like, wow. Like, you would probably have to move to a whole nother area because that to me is just like low as fuck. Yeah, so I hope she gets arrested. I definitely hope she gets some felony time because I'm afraid for somebody else to happen. I'm afraid that she's doing this shit on Tinder. Now you spotting out black men while we worried about people on Grindr because that's happening over there too as well. We got to really be worried about folks on Tinder coming after, That's so true. I'll turn into a gremlin about mine. Okay. There have been times when my kid's father have been just talking to them loud and I give him the eye like, all right, he got the message. It's not funny. This chick, she crazy as hell. Listen, Cash App. Crazy, batshit crazy. I bet he canceled his Tinder account when he got home from hospital being stitched up. That'll learn him get sex the normal way next time. So not victim blaming. But I know exactly what you mean. Look at Karen in that mugshot trying to look clueless and innocent. You know, that's what I was saying. I'm looking like, look at her trying to be like everything is okay. See that reporter ready to get his ass cut up too. You see him going to the door. Baby, I would have been the one reporter having the cameraman go to the door. You want to go now? I'll hold the camera. Go ahead. You want to hold the mic? Go ahead. Bitch, you ain't finna get me. That hoe come out slashing, bitch. All right, my mouth still. What the fuck is wrong with these people? See, that's why I don't partake in the S&Ms. No, ain't no yoking for me. I need one hand free and one leg free. So whatever you can do, want to do to the other, you know, you can tie that. No, but I need to be able to. I don't play that shit. I'm too much of a control freak when it comes to that. Yeah, the Tinder app is full of crazy people. Oh my goodness. And what's so weird is, doesn't Tinder require you to fill it out thoroughly? So all these crazy ass people really taking the time to thoroughly fill out their Tinder app application. No victim shaming. I'm over here judging him too. If he's my son, I would have been like, what the fuck wrong with you? I would have, the whole time I'd have walked in that hole. I'd have walked in. So you around here, you like getting tied up. Now, when did this start? Now, at what point did we start this? To the point where you just offered a Tinder though? Man, I was trying to find a picture of him, but I said, no, let me just slow down on the picture. They already put his name out, so I just leave it at his name. But yeah. Lauren Dooley is her name. A Dooley. Don't she sound like a Dooley? I wonder what her screen name was. Lauren will cut you. Suck and cut. Lauren, suck and cut. That's probably what it was. Suck and cut. And he probably was into some shit like that. Oh, this bitch want to suck and cut. Okay. I'm trying to figure out, like, what a bitch like this like. Are you kidding me? What in the Jeffrey Dahmer, the head did it? Baby, that head probably had him like, well, I wonder what else she gonna do. Okay, that's why he had no comment for the police. He was embarrassed. The homies won't hear his story on the basketball court. Find the picture. I want to see what he looked like. Oh my god, let me see. Oh my god, yeah, it's tripping. All right. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. I'm about to put it on my Twitter wall. I'm in my community wall. And even, I forgot to say this, even during this whole period of time, the whole ordered DoorDash, and she told him, she was like, when they come, you better not say nothing or I'll kill you. I'm sitting here like, this bitch is on a roll, honey. She's on a roll. So I'm gonna have to put it on my community wall because I'm gonna go back through my Twitter feed. I think I liked it on one of my Twitter pages. So I'm gonna have to pull it from there and put it up. But he's a black dude. I think his name was like Michael something too. Yeah, so be mindful. If you a straight man, you on Twitter and Tinder, violence doesn't, sexual assault that don't evade you. It happens to everyone. And not to make a slight reference back to it, but given that it's October and Domestic Violence Awareness Month, I think everyone needs to be aware that these instances can happen to anybody. Look at Ashanti's sister's story and how she came out of that. This Marcus Calhoun, man, he's shooting the baby mom, trying to kill her and her mother. He ends up taking out his baby's life. This one here, the Buffalo Faley shooting, she pleaded, put a video out, and still nothing was able to save her life. This man here knocked his woman's head to the wall, cracked the wall, the pavement in the wall, and threw his baby over a glass table because he was jealous she was in her phone. Then you got this crazy woman on some crazy shit stabbing up a man after she gives him fellatio. So violence, specifically domestic in nature, relationships, not relationships, but whatever, it's definitely serious. And so we definitely got to take account. And if you see anybody, know anybody, absolutely try to encourage them as much as you can. That's the best thing you can do. Provide them with information, easily accessible, and meet them where they are. If they can't, if somebody going through something and they can't, sort of talk on the phone, maybe they can only Facebook message you. Or because I had a situation like that. Again, I told you, my family definitely had a situation. Meet them where they are there. If you can record a video and send it to them, send them a video. Sometimes visuals help paint a picture. Ask for pictures. Send me a picture of you smiling or something. It's always good to have relevant, up-to-date pictures in case something goes wrong and you need to file your own missing report. Any moment you get, send me a little picture, or send me a video, or all of those things can be helpful in the long run. But always trying to help somebody find their way out of it goes a long way. So, and shout out, and I want to shout out to and rest in peace to domestic victims who didn't make it, who lost their lives at the hands of either a loved one or someone else. Definitely rest in peace, and condolences to their families, the children, friends of those who have lost their lives. That's a definitely hard toll to take as well. So I'll be talking about more domestic violence stories as we do local news, so stay tuned to that. And just to run down the topics we talked about today, we touched on Biden and his marijuana, his federal marijuana pardon of about 6,500 citizens. We talked about him being sued by this organization for the student loan forgiveness plan, and how they tried to attack it from the unequal treatment angle. If they don't get the fuck out of here, and that's what the judge said, get the fuck out of here. Then we talked about good old John Kennedy and his ad, in which, of course, we definitely said it was racist in nature, with his loose lips, sucking his nose, bitch breathing. He got a psycho breathing going on. He breathed right into his mouth, blow right back into just nasty in the mouth. Check the video out. We talked about Zalil Patterson, the young girl who shot into the North Park Mall stealing popcorn, who was shot at the North Park Mall for stealing popcorn, and now she's injured and she's facing adult charges, not juvenile charges. We talked about Firenza Murphy, this crazy ass, escaped jail on August 8th, was found September 29th, I want to say, nabbed at his own birthday party. Now, I'm telling you, friends or family turned him in. I'm kid you not. Trust me, you've been out for that long, and then you just suddenly be around at your birthday party, and you think somebody close to you didn't snitch. I would like to say they didn't, but they did. And then we also touched on this sad story. Moriana Williams was the daughter who lost her life because her mom and dad were out Ubering all night long from 4 p.m. to 6 a.m. the next day. Daughter was hitting the road at 2 a.m. in the morning. Nobody saw her for 4 hours. How does that happen? So these two have been arrested, and I hope they stay arrested. We touched on the Thailand mass shooting, and we also touched on the slain California family, and then we wrapped it up with our domestic violence story. So thank you all for being here. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And I hope you found the topics interesting, because I did. I was like, wow, a lot of this shit is going on. Now, I can't touch on everything. I know there's so much stuff going on, but I try to find stuff that I at least find interesting that we can have a good discussion about. So thank you for us going through those topics. And Replay Gang, thank you for replaying the video. Make sure you hit the like button too, because the likes matter. I know you may not think they matter, but they matter. They help the channel stay in the engagement algorithm. All of that matters. So anybody, please get help if you need to. Please, please, absolutely. That wasn't his first time. She ordered DD and went to sleep after. She a pro at thrashing. Okay, sound like a whole nigga. Ordered DoorDash and was like, okay. Hey, Brick Girl. Good morning, boo. Good morning. Thank you, Zap. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, sir. Listen, build a community that you trust, and make sure you all drop your locations. Okay? If you ain't doing nothing, drop in your location, sharing everything. The more you share, the better. It's always, nobody wants people in their business, but as my TT tell me, somebody's gonna always be in your business. It don't matter. You can be the secretive person. You could be thinking you're doing as much shit behind closed doors or in the dark, but everybody has somebody who knows all their shit. And there's a good component to that. There's a good thing. Now, if they're using it against you, you might want to get out of that. But yeah, you definitely do. Good morning, Miss Margot. What up? Good morning. Yes, thank you. I appreciate you, Brick Girl. Thank you. Thank you, Mildred. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll be trying to come through with some stuff for us on Friday morning. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Marty. I appreciate you. I appreciate you all. Truly, truly, I do. If you all want to begin dropping some crowns in the chat, I'm about to dip out. And until next time, news crew, until next time. And feel free to super chat if you like to, or send a cash app. And thank you to all those who do send me a cash app. And thank you to those who have supported the Amazon birthday wish list. I went through the wish list and I do see some items have been grabbed off the list. So thank you. I have my PO box, so I have to go check that out today or later today. So I appreciate all the love and support you all. I really, really do. And I'm gonna have some free time. So I'm trying to figure out what other topic I want to come on, like maybe around 12 or 1, but I don't have no topic that I really want to talk about. So hopefully some shit pop off or something happen and I can come back around a little earlier in the day in the noon time and just kick it with you all. If not, until next time, you all, it's been my pleasure as your host. Been my pleasure. My pleasure. Great show. You have a beautiful day too. Yes, yes. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you all. I appreciate it. All right, y'all. I'm going to see y'all on the flip side. Deuces. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for being here this morning. Thank you for being here this morning.
Let's go, let's go. Oh, let's start this show. King Roman news gonna come right through. Gonna give you that news just like you know it can do. Hot topics in your face, baby. King Roman knows his place, baby. King Roman news.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning.
6:30 a.m. Eastern time, baby. He's gonna come right on time with the news just for you. Celebrity news, politics, and local news just for you. King Roman news. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday, Wednesday, Let's go, let's go. Hey, let's start this show. King Roman news, coming just for you. King Roman news, coming just for you. 6:30 a.m. Eastern time, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. King Roman news, King Roman news. Let's go. Let's start this show.